I will be stronger. They'll call me freedom, just like a waving flag. When I get older, I will be stronger.
Namaskaram. Hi, my name is Ashma and I want world peace. What is world peace? The definition is going to be different for basically everyone. Everyone's going to define it in their own way. We can say that it's an ideal state or society in which people aren't limited by their physical needs. Physical safety isn't an issue, so they're able to fully focus on expressing themselves and on becoming more complete human beings. So that said, let's talk about world peace. But it's still kind of ridiculous. The world is huge. There are 7.1 billion people on this planet, according to the World Population Clock. And by 2050, we're expected to reach 9 billion. So the idea of tackling world peace is pretty daunting and far-fetched in a way. But the truth is, it's possible, it's doable. It's just going to require the joint effort of basically every nation and every person on this planet. All those people and all those nations are required to make it happen. So let's say we only have 5 minutes to address every person on this planet. For some reason, every person is gathered and they're waiting to hear what you have to say. So you have 5 minutes before, they disperse. So let's talk about world peace in 5 minutes. We can break it down into a manageable number of channels or platforms. I made 5. I made a mnemonic because that always helps me. Priority, education, accessibility, communication, and environment. So let's start with our first platform, which is priority. When we're talking about world peace, we can only talk about what we're able to do. So the real question is, what level are you capable of establishing world peace on? Whatever level you're operating on, whether it's national, local, statewide, within your school, your university, your high school, it doesn't matter. You can do something towards being a solution. Whether you join a club, form a foundation, or a charity, you're already taking that first step towards creating the conditions for world peace by being willing to work with people that you probably don't know. So we just have to remember that everyone is differently capable, and this differential potential is part of what makes the kaleidoscope of humanity. Everyone is unique. No two people are the same. That's what priority really means for me. If we all name what we're able to do, the resources we have access to, then there's no turmoil. Then we're all going to be functioning in a concerted effort towards establishing the conditions for world peace. If not world peace yet, then at least the conditions for it. The right soil, which is an individual thing. Creating the right soil within ourselves so that we can be fruitful outside. But we'll come back to that. For now, let's focus on our second platform in our 5-faceted approach, and that is education. Now, you would think that every child on this planet has access to education, but that's obviously not true. Even within the United States, where we say no child will be left behind, thousands of children are left behind. They're deprived of a chance to go to school because of poverty or because of disorganized educational systems within their city or state. We need to address this because education is at the heart of creating a peaceful society. The right kind of curriculum and going to school under the right kind of teachers, that can be doors for you. If you learn the way that society functions and how you yourself can function. If a child knows how to operate within society, if he learns how society functions and what he can do in that society and what he's interested in based on his passion, then where's room for violence? He or she would just be doing what they're best at doing, which they learned because they were given that chance in school. I think the curriculum itself is also something we need to look at with, expanding the net of education. Curriculum that is integrated and best for the child to create a more intelligent human being. Because if we're not even creating intelligent human beings on the level of education, then we're definitely setting the stage for violence and for destruction. One of the conditions for world peace has to be establishing the right kind of education on a wide scale. That's something that goes hand in hand with our third tenet, which is accessibility. We won't spend long talking about this because it's very obvious. Everyone should have the right to go to school. Everyone should have the right to affordable health care. And this is just not a reality in most of the world. Even in the United States, healthcare is not available to everyone, which is something we're constantly bickering about, but we haven't yet reached a solution. So it's going to take the joint effort of pharmaceutical companies, hospitals, the right lobbyists, ultimately the right kind of legislation to make this happen. So this is something that happens on a national scale, but can be influenced by all of us. We just have to make our voices heard. So accessibility is a must because we need everyone to have access to at least the basic services such as transportation, education, healthcare, etc. Let's get that going. Our fourth tenet is cooperation. No, that's not what I said. Communication. But actually, cooperation is also part of that. It's all part of accessibility because if all these services are available on a wide scale, if they're all accessible, if we have some sort of public transportation connecting it all, then naturally communication is enhanced. Then the ability to lobby something is much easier. Then the idea of going to Washington to lobby does not seem so daunting. So we need to look at communication not just from our networking perspective, because naturally that's on the rise, but we need to look at it from the grassroots and say, what can we do to make it easier for people to go places to communicate? Because that's where movements begin. So communication goes hand in hand with accessibility. And lastly, which actually encompasses everything, is environment, our fifth tenet. Environment means external environment and internal environment. We know the rate that our world is heading if we keep burning all these fossil fuels, contributing to global warming, this big scare. We've heard the stats, but we don't have the time to think that the situation will right itself. Pollution isn't going to disappear if we don't make a 192 nation effort to fix a environmental catastrophe that right now is the world. Then it's only going to get worse. And it starts with the major players, the ones who are leaving the biggest carbon footprints, of which the US is pretty much at the top. So we definitely need to be conscious of what kind of fuels we're burning, what kind of cars we're using. If we really invest in eco-friendly solutions, if we're all conscious of hybrid cars and hydrogen-fueled cars, then we'll be contributing towards a greener planet. So that's external environment, but internal environment is something that we've been hinting at throughout our five-faceted approach, and which is really at the heart of, talking about world peace, making better human beings. Manufacture ourselves, each one of us, in the right way. If we are eating the right kinds of food, not polluting our system with processed foods and toxins, then we feel good about ourselves. And when you feel good about yourself, how do you act around the people that you hang out with? You naturally are joyful. Getting the right kind of education makes all the difference. If 7.1 billion people can all become intelligent, conscious, socially responsible people, then where is the issue of violence? I think that would right itself right away. So that is just my idea on how peace can be achieved. The conditions can be set for it to be achieved. It would take years for it to be achieved, and it would be a joint effort. So I'm interested in hearing all of your ideas on how we might achieve peace, especially our generation. So let's have a fun discussion.
When I get older, I will be stronger. They'll call me freedom, just like a waving flag. When I get older, I will be stronger. They'll call me freedom, just like a waving flag.